They made a group chat about you, then asked you to lead it. They said, "You can't sit here," so you bought the table. What I'm about to say may challenge how you see yourself, and that's the point. If you're hearing this right now, it's not a coincidence. Life has a way of calling you up right before everything changes. You've spent too long being overlooked, underestimated, and quietly dismissed. But that season is over. You're not seeking permission anymore. You're stepping into position. The very people who once talked behind your back are now looking to you for direction. The rooms that once made you feel like an outsider, you no longer need an invite. You are the room. This isn't about revenge. It's about rising so far beyond their expectations that they have no choice but to respect your presence. Before we dive deeper into this message, take a second to do 3 quick things. Hit that like button, subscribe to help us reach 1,000 subscribers, and drop message for them in the comments. That number represents alignment, and by commenting, you're reinforcing your decision to stop waiting and start owning your space. If this resonates, stick around, because the next few minutes could mark the beginning of a completely different chapter in your life. One where you're no longer waiting to be chosen. You're choosing yourself. There was a time when your name was nothing but a punchline, something whispered in corners and thrown around in jokes meant to diminish you. They chuckled behind screens, convinced your absence meant you were irrelevant. But little did they realize, every laugh was fueling your determination, and every mocking word was a call to rise stronger. The quiet humiliation wasn't the end of your story. It was just the prologue. They never thought you'd move beyond their small, limited vision of who you were. They underestimated the fire that burns silently in those who appear unbothered. While they wasted their breath laughing, you were busy sharpening your skills, building resilience, and cultivating a strength that words alone couldn't capture. The irony? Their laughter has long since died down, replaced by the uncomfortable silence of witnessing your rise. Now, they sit on the sidelines, watching the transformation they failed to prevent. That very silence they once mocked has become a roar that shakes their foundations. They don't laugh anymore because they know you've moved beyond their shallow narratives. Their exclusion only amplified your worth. It became the fuel for a comeback so powerful it's impossible to ignore. The story here isn't about petty revenge. It's about the unshakable courage to outgrow those who doubted you. Their group chat jokes couldn't contain your ambition or break your spirit. Instead, their laughter became a monument to your grit, proof that those who belittle others often inspire the most formidable comebacks. In every space they once ridiculed, you are now the presence that commands respect. They thought excluding you was the end of your influence, but it was merely the beginning of your legend. Being pushed aside, ignored, or discarded feels like a personal exile, a cruel sentence from those who were supposed to support you. But exile is only temporary for those who believe in their own light. What starts as rejection often turns into reinvention. You didn't just survive being left out, you evolved into the very foundation others now depend on. The same people who turned their backs on you, expecting you to fade away, are now reaching out in desperation. Why? Because your unique skills, your vision, and your integrity became the standard they couldn't replicate. You didn't wait for permission to shine. You created your own path, becoming the model others secretly admired but couldn't imitate. Think about the countless stories of trailblazers who were overlooked before they became indispensable. Nelson Mandela, Oprah Winfrey, or Steve Jobs. Like them, you learned that being excluded is often a sign you're on the right path. It's proof you're breaking molds and setting new standards, rather than fitting into someone else's limited box. You have rewritten the rules by being true to yourself and refusing to dim your light. Your journey from exile to essential reminds us all that true power lies not in fitting in, but in standing out, especially when the world doubts your worth. You became a blueprint for others seeking strength in their own exclusion. Now, the very circles that cast you aside are scrambling to understand how to catch up. And that's the greatest victory of all. For years, you knocked on closed doors, pleading for entry, seeking approval, and hoping to be seen. Each no chipped away at your confidence, but you kept knocking, believing that eventually someone would hear you. What you didn't realize was that the doors weren't meant to open for you. They were built to keep you out. Then came the day when you stopped knocking. You realized that waiting for permission was waiting for a lifetime of disappointment. Instead of begging to enter someone else's space, you began to imagine a place of your own. A place built with your values, your vision, and your power, where you set the rules and others had to respect them. Building that door wasn't easy. It took grit, courage, and relentless belief. Every nail hammered in was a refusal to accept limits. Every plank placed was a statement of self-worth. And when the door stood tall, solid, and unyielding, it wasn't just a physical barrier. It was a declaration that you were no longer waiting for anyone's approval. The most remarkable part: when you built your own door, those who once locked you out started to knock on yours. The power dynamics shifted because you stopped being the seeker and became the gatekeeper. Your self-respect created a space that demanded respect from others. This story is a testament to the power of self-reliance. When you stop chasing others and start creating your own opportunities, you become unstoppable. There's a profound strength in silence, a strength often misunderstood by those who equate noise with power. When you stopped explaining yourself, stopped defending your worth, and chose silence, you sent a message louder than any argument or confrontation ever could. Your quiet was not absence. It was presence amplified. Silence can be a shield and a weapon, and you wielded it masterfully. By refusing to engage in petty battles or justify your value to those unwilling to see it, you force them to confront the void you left behind. Suddenly, the person they thought they could ignore became a force whose absence was deeply felt. In history and literature, silence has always been a powerful tool. Think of Rosa Parks, whose quiet refusal sparked a revolution. Your silence held the same transformative potential. It wasn't about weakness. It was about choosing your battles and rising above unnecessary noise. Moreover, silence gave you space to grow, heal, and strategize. It allowed your inner voice to be heard clearly, free from the chaos of others' judgments. And when you finally spoke or acted again, it was with a power that commanded attention. This silent strength is often the most intimidating because it demands reflection and respect from those who once tried to diminish you. People who take advantage of your kindness often mistake generosity for weakness. They consume your energy, your love, and your dedication as if it's a given, expecting you to endlessly fuel their needs without regard for your own. But what happens when that fire, once shared freely, becomes a blaze they can no longer control? You were the spark that lit their paths, yet they never cared to nurture your own flame. They drained you, taking more than you realized until the well ran dry. And when you pulled back, when you guarded your flame, instead of letting it be extinguished, they were unprepared for the heat of your resurgence. Now, your flame isn't just a flicker, it's a roaring blaze that demands respect and space. They feared your power when it was quiet. They fear it even more now that it's unleashed. What once was a source of fuel for their advantage has transformed into a force they must reckon with. The fire you guard fiercely represents your boundaries, your self-worth, and your refusal to be used. It's a warning to those who ever underestimated your strength. Kindness is not weakness, and when it's respected, it lights the way. But when it's abused, it becomes a wildfire. This transformation is your ultimate liberation, embracing your power without apology, turning the tables on those who once fed off your flame. There's a unique kind of resilience born from being underestimated. As the underdog, you faced doubt, dismissal, and sometimes outright hostility. You were told you wouldn't succeed, wouldn't belong, wouldn't make a difference. But all of that skepticism became the fuel propelling you forward, transforming the narrative from less than to the one to watch. The journey from underdog to benchmark is paved with sacrifice and relentless effort. It requires you to perfect your craft, hold on to your vision when others waver, and keep moving when the path is littered with obstacles. Your story is a testament to the power of perseverance. Today, you don't just compete, you set the bar. Others look to you as the example, the proof that dedication and authenticity can overturn the harshest judgments. You redefine what success looks like and inspire those still struggling in the shadows to believe in their own potential. This transformation shows us all that being overlooked isn't a dead end. It's the starting line for those who dare to dream bigger and work harder. Your rise challenges the status quo and reshapes expectations. You are no longer the quiet contender. You are the standard others aspire to reach. Being ignored is painful. It makes you question your place and your purpose, but invisibility is often the last stage before an extraordinary breakthrough. When they overlooked your contributions, dismissed your ideas, or excluded your presence, they were blind to the irreplaceable value you were quietly building. This shift from being invisible to becoming indispensable doesn't happen overnight. It's the result of countless hours of work behind the scenes, honing your skills, building genuine relationships, and showing up even when recognition was absent. Your consistency and authenticity laid the groundwork for this transformation. What's remarkable about becoming irreplaceable is that it flips power dynamics. Suddenly, those who once ignored you need your expertise, your insight, and your presence. They depend on you in ways they never admitted before. This change is a powerful reminder. Your value isn't dictated by others' acknowledgement. It's built by your commitment to excellence and your belief in your own worth. Once they realize you can't be replaced, their respect is no longer optional. It's necessary. Your evolution is a silent victory over neglect, a proof that true worth always finds a way to shine. Your kindness was a gift, a generosity of spirit that nurtured relationships and created harmony. But too often, kindness is mistaken for weakness or an open door to exploitation. They assumed you'd always be there to pick up their pieces without ever expecting anything in return. When the time came for real leadership, when decisions needed to be made, courage needed to be shown, and vision needed to be cast, they turned to you, not because they respected your boundaries, but because your reliability and heart were undeniable. The same people who took you for granted suddenly recognized your power. Leading after being undervalued requires a deep well of patience and humility. It's the ability to say, "I'm here, not to be used, but to guide." And when you stepped into that role, you redefined leadership as strength combined with compassion. Your journey teaches us that kindness is not a weakness to be exploited. It's a foundation for transformative leadership. Those who underestimated you learned the hard way that true leaders emerge from hearts that refuse to harden. Your rise to leadership is not just a personal triumph. It's a lesson to everyone about the power of gentle strength. Some circles are comfortable, but limiting. Small worlds built on old rules and outdated thinking. You gave your energy to these circles, hoping they'd support your growth, only to realize they were designed to keep you small. They couldn't handle your ambition, your evolution, or your refusal to conform. Outgrowing a circle isn't just about leaving people behind. It's about recognizing your own worth and refusing to be confined. It's painful to step away, from familiar faces, but staying in spaces that don't celebrate your growth stunts your potential. When you moved beyond these circles, you opened yourself to new possibilities and connections that align with your vision. You found communities that challenge you, inspire you, and reflect your highest self. Growth demands courage, the courage to leave comfort zones, confront loneliness, and step into unknown territories. But it's also a powerful affirmation that your spirit is too big for any cage. Your journey encourages others to evaluate their own circles and choose environments that nurture, not limit, their greatness. While they told you there's no room for you, you were busy creating a space so compelling that others had no choice but to take notice. Owning the table means more than just having a seat. It means controlling the narrative, setting the agenda, and inviting others on your terms. This power move is about confidence and vision. It requires you to believe in your worth so fiercely that you don't ask for permission. You claim what's rightfully yours. When you own the table, you become the source of influence rather than a passive participant. Think of every entrepreneur or visionary who changed their industry by not waiting for approval, by building their own platforms and communities. That's what you did. You transformed exclusion into opportunity and silence into authority. Owning the table is a bold declaration. You are a leader, a creator, and a force to be reckoned with. The very people who doubted you are now watching you lead the conversation. This moment isn't just personal victory. It's a beacon for anyone waiting for permission to shine. You don't need it. You already own the space. The pressure to fit in can feel overwhelming, an invisible force telling you to mute your uniqueness and conform to the norm. But you were never created to blend in quietly. Your spirit, your ideas, and your vision are too bold, too vibrant for that. Taking over doesn't mean domination. It means owning your authenticity and creating spaces where your true self can thrive. It means rewriting the rules instead of playing by them. Every pioneer, innovator, or leader has faced this truth. The journey is never about fitting in. It's about standing out so unapologetically that you change the game entirely. Embracing this mindset liberates you from the exhaustion of trying to belong where you're not valued. It empowers you to build your own legacy on your own terms. You are a force of nature, destined not for quiet acceptance, but for bold, transformative impact. When others dismiss you, it can feel like the end, but being written off early is often the universe's way of clearing the path for you to surprise everyone, including yourself. You took their doubts and turned them into motivation to create your own story. Now, you're not just surviving, you're thriving. You've taken the pen and started writing the rules that others will follow. Your experience of rejection has become a powerful tool to shape new standards of success and leadership. This isn't arrogance, it's the confidence born of hard-earned wisdom. It's the ability to say, I will define what success means for me. And by doing so, you inspire others to reject imposed limitations and claim their own narrative. Your journey proves that early dismissal is not defeat, it's a catalyst. The people who wrote you off are now learning that the story is far from over, and you are its author. Sometimes the loudest response to being silenced isn't noise, it's absence. When they tried to drown your voice, you chose to step back, to remove yourself from the equation, letting the void speak volumes. Your absence was a mirror reflecting their short-sightedness. This strategic withdrawal isn't about retreat. It's about preservation and clarity. By removing yourself from toxic environments, you gave yourself space to heal and to let your value become undeniable through what they lost, not just what you said. History teaches us that absence can be powerful. Consider how great leaders and movements have used silence and withdrawal to command attention and respect.